Welcome to another episode of Friday Freebies, where we take a look at the best free tools for WordPress and web designers out there. Today, we're going to take a look at the unglamorous world of database maintenance. I know it's not exciting, but it is something we absolutely have to do if we want to keep our WordPress websites in tip-top condition. Today, we're going to be taking a look at an absolutely free tool that potentially replaces what I normally use. Now, for a good many years, I've been using and recommending a free tool called WP Sweep. And while it's a really useful tool, it's not necessarily the most detailed. It's pretty simple, bare bones and stripped back. And for a lot of users, that's probably more than enough. Now, as with any of these kinds of tools, always make sure you take a backup before you make any changes to your database. No matter how safe you think it may be, things can go wrong. Now, when it comes to taking backups, my tool of choice is WP Vivid Backup. The free version will do pretty much everything you need, and if you need more, the pro version is available. Links and details down below. I've created video content on WP Vivid many times, and it's a tool I've been using for probably 6 or 7 years with great success. Okay, so with all the preamble out of the way and the warnings about making sure you have backups before you do anything, what tool are we actually going to take a look at today? Well, it's a free tool by Coding Bunny, and it's called Database Cleaner. Surprise, surprise, I know that may shock you. Now, I've already installed the plugin, and let's go and take a look at what options are available. If you come over, you'll see we have currently 2 different options, the database cleaner and report match. Now, the report match is basically if you find database tables that it doesn't know about, you can report it, share it, and have a centralized database that helps it identify what database tables are associated with what types of content. You'll see that in a moment when we jump into the cleaner itself. And this is the Database Cleaner Hub. As you can see, a ton of information down the left-hand side about the server, the name, the prefix, the database size, items to clean, and so on. And then you've got a breakdown of the various different component pieces that make up your database. Now, when you install plugins and themes and then delete them and so on, they can add and remove, partially remove, or maybe just completely leave behind redundant data, database tables, and so on. So this is a tool that helps you not only keep your database in tip-top condition with things like transients, revisions, and things along those lines, it'll also help you identify data and database tables and so on that are no longer needed. So if we come over and take a look, it'll give us a little bit of info. Hey Paul, I found 29 tables in the database. 5 tables are no longer used by any active plugin or theme and can be deleted with confidence. Again, I will reiterate, before we go any further, have a backup in place. May take you a few moments. It'll save your life if something goes wrong. Okay, so with that being said, we'll take a look at the options on the left-hand side in a mo, but let's take a look at the main area here. At the top, we've got a simple filter. So inside here, you can see we've got various different filters for all table, unused tables, unknown origin, and so on. Then you can filter if you want to. Underneath, you've got things like delete selected tables, optimize, and etc., etc. So just easy ways of finding the data that's actually stored in there and filtering it based upon various parameters. Then if we take a look at the entries themselves, you can see it shows us things like the actual post meta, the size, the database type, which you can switch this over to InnoDB if you want to. It's already in that situation in my setup, but you can swap things over should you need to. The overhead, where it comes from, this is the origin. This is the important thing that tells you what table is associated with what theme, plugin, core WordPress, and so on. So again, you can make a more informed decision. You will see as you go through things like unknown because it's not sure. Again, what you could do is you could use that function here to report a match, and then you can tell it to that centralized database. And as that database grows, you'll see more associated origins with more effectiveness as it grows and expands. So if you find something like this and you know what it's associated with, I would recommend sharing that information. Then everybody benefits. Then what you can do is you can delete, optimize, convert to InnoDB, which obviously we already are, and you can repair it if there's any problems. You can also click to preview the content of this particular database table. Now, you do have to be admin with the relevant rights to be able to access this. So it's not available to everybody that can jump into the admin of your website. So don't fear the fact that anybody that accesses this can make changes. It is locked down to specific user roles, admin, with specific user access. So if we click on any of these, for example, post meta, you'll see that opens up and shows us all the data inside there, and we can scroll through and take a little look at any info. Close that down. So you can do that for lots of different tables. So the next step, what can we do from here? Well, let's say we want to take a look at those database tables which are not associated, so we can potentially safely delete them. Click, choose the option for unused tables. There's our unused tables, and you can see these all to do with action scheduler, umbrella. So if you're not using these, so WP umbrella, action scheduler, and so on, you can potentially select them all and choose to delete the selected tables. So let's go and delete those. Let's say delete selected tables. It says, are you sure you want to delete these selected tables? So you get a notification before you delete anything. We'll say, okay. And after a few moments, they are now deleted from our database. So you can see it tells us now it's found 24 tables. 6 tables do not match any plugin, but those 5 database tables that were associated with anything have now been removed. And that's just taking up space in your database that will potentially slow things down. Now, if you want to go and take a look at unknown origin, we can click inside, choose that from our filter. That will then show us anything that it doesn't know what that table is associated with. If you come in, you can filter things down then on the left-hand side. So you can come into your options. Inside there, we've got all our options. So nav menu, pages, etc., etc. So these are the options to do with WordPress. You can see WordPress core. We've got some unknown. And then we've got clean admin dashboard, WordPress core, etc. Then we've got WP Vivid backup. So you can see we've got an awful lot of options, all to do with plugins and things we know we've got installed. Come into your posts, for example. Inside here, we've got 312 posts, which I do not have on the website, but 242 of those are revisions. So you can see we've got one auto draft as well, and they can be safely deleted. Now, obviously, don't delete anything that you may have already in progress. In other words, you've got a revision or a draft or something. Be careful deleting those. If you know they're safe to delete and you don't worry about storing auto drafts and things, delete them from here. Now, you can also see you've got things like auto clean revisions, auto clean drafts, and auto clean trash. Now, you can set this up so it'll automatically do it in a set period. So every hour, twice a day, weekly or monthly. So you can set that to go whatever period you want, and that will then get rid of the revisions based upon that period. So let's set that there. We'll say, okay. So again, it tells us, are you sure you want to proceed? Because it can have implications of the data being lost. Click OK, and the same for auto drafts. We can say every month. Again, we'll get that notification. And then you've got auto clean trash. So there's a lot of options inside here. Now, I'm not going to go through everything here because I think it's pretty self-explanatory what this is intended to do. But I would say try it out because it has a lot of options. It gives you lots of information. It's absolutely free. And you may find this is a perfect option for you to manage your database. And it is always good to keep your database clean and up to date, just to remove all the extraneous data that may not be any kind of relevance. As you can see, 242 revisions in my database. I don't need any of those. All my posts that need to be posted are posted. So I can clean those up if I want to. So let's delete all the revisions. Confirmation again, you always get a confirmation dialog box just in case you've clicked the wrong thing. Okay, we've now got rid of those revisions, and as you can see, I've cleaned things up. That's 242 post revisions removed. So that is the free database cleaner from Coding Bunny. The link for this will be in the description down below, or you can find it on the normal WordPress repo, so you can just install it directly from there. But as always, let me know in the comment section, have you tried this yourself? Do you use an alternative free option? Let me know. And if you've got any kind of tools you want to share for potentially being included in Friday Freebies in the future, drop the name down below. Don't bother putting the link in there because YouTube will just delete your post. So just put in the name of the product and I will do a search and find it from there. As always, all applicable links are in the description. My name is Paul C. This is WPTuts. Until next time, take care.